The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host. As always, we come to you at this time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
So what do we have going on? We're up 49 on the S&P cash. That's 2731. And the Dow's up 410. NASDAQ's up 191. Russell's up 12. That is the Russell's the lightest. So they must think, or there must be some news floating around that they think that the trade deal is done. One of the reasons why I could not be short, I continue to be very nervous about this market, mostly because of the incredibly thin, where is it at? Incredibly thin futures market and incredibly thin actual quotes in the system. But that makes this market very easy to push around, either up or down. Of course, going into tomorrow night, it is Apple. And my guess is they're going to run this thing up into Apple's earnings. My guess is they're going to be slightly disappointing and that we're going to probably find some kind of lows in Mondays and Tuesdays that will be a retrace that will probably be a fairly good time to start buying equities. Right now, of course, a lot of the equities that I've been following are, that were strong, continue to have some real issues and continue to break down. Why, of course, the usual suspects are getting all the love, i.e. the big names in the market like Apple up, 3%. So again, it certainly looks that way. And then, of course, we're going to get into Facebook and what I was looking at, but no signal today saying that downturn is over. We'll explain why there. And a few other things. Volume is about 5.2 billion shares or 5.3 billion shares. So it's fairly good, a little less than the way down, maybe 15, 20%, not as bad as it has been in the past. The question is, are we setting up for some kind of unreasonable expectation into Apple's earnings? I think, well, it wouldn't be bad, but I think we're probably a little ahead of ourselves in at least that from what I can see from the rest of the market. Anyway, we'll look at a variety of sectors and some of the earnings from last night and this morning. And before we do that, we'll do a little history and we'll get on with the rest of the show.
And it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
It is history repeating, and on this day in 1926, Harry Houdini, the most celebrated magician and escape artist of the 20th century, dies in a Detroit hospital 12 days before. Houdini had been talking to a group of students after a lecture in Montreal when he commented on the strength of his stomach muscles and their ability to withstand hard blows. Suddenly, one of the students punched Houdini twice in the stomach. The magician hadn't had time to prepare, and the blows ruptured his appendix. He fell ill on the train to Detroit, and after performing one last time, was hospitalized. Doctors operated on him, but to no avail. The burst appendix poisoned his system, and on October 31st, he died. Probably one of the more interesting things that people don't talk about is Harry Houdini and his best friend. Houdini really did not believe in an afterlife or seances, but his best friend did. His best friend, of course, wrote the books all about the most famous detective in the world. And what do we got, like 3 or 4 shows right now that are around Sherlock Holmes. But what is it, Conan Doyle? really believed in the afterlife, and they had a kind of a war of words, became friends later. But kind of very different people from very different worlds, but we're kind of interested in each other. What else do we have going on out here? I wanted to talk about Facebook because before the earnings ever came out, looking at the charts, you would have to make a fairly decent claim that this thing needed to get to 159 to get back into the trading range. It is, or was not. It got back down to a little under 150 and started to bounce today. High 156.40 so far. Let's take a quick look, see what the price is. Okay, so 153.10. Now, what you wanted to see is this thing had broken the 149 level by $10, and you're back in that, at least in the lower part of this trading range. But as far as I could see, that 160 area is where you're really going to start seeing that this thing could actually run, and it's not just a one-day wonder. That's this little doji that you see on the 17th of October, and you also see it on the 9th of October as we go back into this. 149 was the big number, and it did break through there on, what was that, 27 million shares. So you're back in that lower part of the trading range from 159 to 149, but not back over what would be general resistance. If you can break through that little doji, which what the high of the day on that was 160.54, but I'm just going to say just the close, about 159. That puts you back into this middle trading range that could take you back up to 188. I do not think you're probably going to have a very easy trip breaking that 159 unless the S&P gets back over 2,900. That's still 150 or 160 points higher than we are today. So it would take quite a run. You did have kind of a relief rally in this because of the short position. And let me take a quick look here. We will get it. Arthur Conan Doyle, yep. And him were great friends. There's been like 2 TV shows that I've seen that were about that too, them getting together and having fun. Of course, all based on non-facts. What I wanted to look at it here was the level of shorting. It has come down in Facebook. It had been upwards of 15 to 18%, at one point 26% on the way down. It's not so bad. Yesterday, you had just under 10% on the daily numbers for FINRA, 11% the day before that, 10%. So it's kind of come down. You had almost 13% on the 24th, but it's fairly benign, and that's why I'm going to say that you're probably not going to have the same kind of monster move that you had before. Short sale numbers for the last reporting period on the 15th of October came in on, what was that? 283 million shares short.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com. TFNN has launched our brand new website. You can still visit us at the same TFNN.com URL, but when you do, you'll see a new and improved homepage with a much simpler navigation, whether you're watching Tiger TV live in high definition or just accessing your newsletter subscriptions. We even have new pricing in 6 months and yearly options. Check out the new TFNN.com now and experience all the upgrades. TFNN.com, educating investors. Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Up 53 on the S&P. Dow's up 424, and the Nasdaq's up 200. So some fairly large days on the indexes. When we look at crude, it's still down 67 cents. I thought it'd be pretty hard to have the energy sector down and continue a fairly robust pop in the S&P, but apparently it doesn't need that sector today. Gold, of course, off $10.20. Silver off 20 cents. And Mr. Copper down another little bit of a penny at $2.65. Still no real rally in that, and that's where the industrials come in, which is kind of why I'm still kind of scratching my head about whether or not we've seen or will get one more retest of the lows in the coming days. Again, I kind of think that we're going to see a pop into that Thursday run with Apple, and then the question is whether or not it's all been baked in to the pie, or if Apple can surprise. I haven't been seeing that many people with the latest iPhone. I continue to think that Apple probably doesn't do poorly, but maybe they'll just sell the sizzle and tell everybody they're going to do very well come this Christmas. But I think the sales have been okay. They just haven't been anything to really drive the price higher, and I think you need a great deal more to do that. Anything else going on out here that I'm looking at? Again, we are looking at a little bit better futures liquidity and equity liquidity. There's still a lot of quote stuffing going on. So if you're thinking that we're probably going to have lower volatility up and down, I think that there isn't that many people standing in the way of a market up or down. And I think you can walk in any day in probably the next week and see the S&P up 50 or down 50, maybe even more than that. If we went back down to the downside, I would not be surprised to see some kind of blowout if the futures don't, at least the liquidity doesn't increase a lot. Okay, so what else is going on? I'm going to look at some charts. Oh, wanted to look at General Motors. One of the bigger ones, kind of a surprise that they did so well opposed to so many others in the auto sector like Ford and some others. But nice gap up, $36.86, but you're almost at resistance, which comes in at about 38.50, 38.75, is going to have a fairly decent resistant level. You need about 42.5 million shares just to tie the gap down. But yeah, about 38.50 is about where that's going to come in. And why the automobile business may not be as bad as people thought, it's probably not going to get that much better as interest rates slowly creep higher. Let me see what else I had out here. Okay, up 50. Oh, well, I know what I was trying to get to. Wanted to get through to some other earnings. Okay, there they are. Okay. I've got another view here. That's what I want to do. Okay. On the lump of coal for Christmas was DDD, 3D Systems off 28% today. And again, this actually gapped through the gap up that had 19 million shares. Let's see what we have so far today. It looks like 14.4 million shares. So you're going to come close to that volume. And you know, right back to support, going back to what is that? July 31st, kind of the tail end of July before this thing ran up to 21.78. A good trader, certainly one that I've never been able to hold through earnings because of its ability to basically wipe you out on either side, short or long. But you should have some fairly decent support at this $12 level. But as many stocks that came down on heavy volume, I do not expect it instantly to turn higher. It's going to take some level of consolidation before you could ever consider going long. Clovis Oncology, it's off 27% today. A huge move, taking it back to the lows of May 12th in 2016. You were about a dime from that low back there. I don't know if it's so much the volume, but today you certainly have it. About 11 million shares so far. So this one certainly looks like it can break the lows and go farther if we're just looking at the volume today. To another stock that we talked about, I think on Monday going into earnings this week, was IQ. This is the Chinese internet company, is back testing its lows after earnings. May 17th, $19.70 with just under 8 million shares. You got 27 million shares today. And again, you've broken that 1970 low fairly decently. The next low that comes in is 1579. But we'll see. It's probably, you're going to probably have some decent support in the next $2 level. We also talked about Watt at some length. In fact, after the break, we're going to talk about programmable chips because I've had somebody ask me some questions about it. This one, you know, not a lot of volume today so far, 700,000, but it did gap down. I think it was Maria that called. Again, I don't see anything that's literally changed. Your next low out here is at $6.91. At some level, they could actually announce something, and I don't know whether it works or not, but if it does, this thing could be a skyrocket. I think, let's go ahead and take a quick look. 25% short interest in this thing yesterday, and this is, of course, a $7 stock. So everybody's basically banking on the fact that this one goes out of business. You've got a 32% short interest in the last bi-monthly reporting period. To what else? 14 days to cover. So, man, if you could actually know that they had something in this one, this is one that could literally go in a handful of days to 100. If they've got something, it also can go to 0 if they do not. Anyway, we're going to go to the break. When we come back, we're going to talk about programmable logic, because I think there's a big, a bunch of folks out there that are kind of pushing something that is at least not right about programmable chips. We'll be back in a minute.
The Path of Least Resistance, David White's daily market letter, gives you trade recommendations based on David's proprietary power law vector indicator that put the odds of success overwhelmingly in your favor. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price for each stock and option trade. David combines his years of trading experience along with his background in technology and computing to offer his subscribers his take on the markets on a daily basis. Every trading day by 9:30, David publishes his morning issue of The Path of Least Resistance, along with updates sent out throughout the week whenever there is new actionable trading information. All new subscribers receive a 30-day, no questions asked, money-back guarantee. To sign up for David White's daily trading newsletter right now, visit the front page of TFNN.com and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Direction's daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay. Apparently somebody I don't know who or care said that Xilinx was a 5G play. And apparently that's being pushed out there by the Motley Fool, and that's getting regurgitated around. And of course, there's an article out here today also that says that Xilinx is now going to be in Microsoft servers. That is not from Microsoft. It is people inside the company, and they're unidentified. So I don't know if this is real or not. My guess, though, is when they start stretching the truth, it probably is not. So let's talk about that. They're up on about 4 million shares against the previous high on October 3rd. But let's talk a little bit about what these chips actually do, because I think the biggest thing is this thing that these guys are somehow all involved in 5G. And from what I could read and know about their business, it is peripherally at best. And then we'll talk about how Intel is their main competitor in these servers. So first of all, Xilinx and Altera, which Altera was bought by Intel, make programmable logic chips. These chips can be fairly expensive, and there are a couple of reasons to buy them if you're manufacturing some kind of electronic board that you're selling. The programmable logic chips have, well, they're basically two versions of it. They're one that are less expensive, but you can program them to do a very specific function. They are kind of like processors, but not quite exactly. You wouldn't want to sell processors designed on a programmable logic circuit. But the reason why this is kind of important is there's a couple of times when it's very important to use these programmable logic circuits. And that is, one, you want to get to market before everybody else does. Two, you don't have enough volume in the product that you're making to make specified chips. It's become very inexpensive to make chips, or a lot less expensive than it was for me back in the mid-90s to consider making on it. We would have never thought about making our own chips because it would have been $5 or $10 million to lay the thing out. And the question is, you know, how long would it take you to make that back when you're making maybe 10,000 or maybe 20,000 of something? Now, if you're making $1 million or $2 million, it's a done deal. But even then, you want to use these programmable logic chips to figure everything out and maybe even get to market for other people before your chips come out the other end of a fab like Taiwan Semiconductor or Global Foundries. Everybody has a router probably in their home that hooks up to the internet. And if you turn the thing on, you'll kind of figure out that it doesn't really work for a minute or two. One type of programmable logic chip, which is where they make probably the best money in the best margins for both Altera and Xilinx, are ones that actually have to configure themselves each and every time they run. And the reason that is important is that sometimes you have to change your hardware, especially in a router or other devices that use vast amount of data. You can't just change some firmware that runs and tells a general purpose chip to do it. In a router, you have to be moving data at a horrendous amount of speed, and that can only be handled in hardware. So the idea is that you can ship firmware updates to it, and maybe it takes a minute or a minute and a half to boot, but after that boot, it runs just like hardware that was designed that way, maybe a chip that was designed that way. So it doesn't instantly come on, and it's not kind of locked in what it does. But if you're a manufacturer, every penny you spend on something is problematic. And that's why routers probably cost, I don't know, twice, maybe 3 times what they should if they were built not to last. If you just bought a router and when the firmware didn't work, you just threw it away and you bought a new one. But of course, security and other issues mean that that always is being updated and changed, and security added to those things. So I may be spending kind of a long time on this. Mostly I'm doing it because I at least have some background in it. But if you're saying that Xilinx is a 5G play, why is it in the phones? And the answer is, 1, to get to market very quickly, or 2, to figure everything out. And you know what? You might make some prototypes with it. You may even make the first 10,000 prototypes with it. But eventually, it is so incredibly cheap to make chips in volume for things like handsets that you can't make money using them all the time. So if we're talking 5G, we're talking about a lot of big equipment and hundreds of thousands of handsets or cell phones. You know, could these kind of go into some of the boxes that go on the towers? The answer is yes. But you know what? You're still going to have hundreds of thousands of towers. So, and across the world, maybe 1 million towers, right? Maybe 5 million towers. And again, if you're paying $20 for a chip that you can replace after spending a couple of $1 million for $1, and that's really kind of the economies of scale. If you're spending $20 on an I can't even say it, Altera or Xilinx chip, once you actually start manufacturing that thing yourself, it's probably $1 or $2. So that's $18 per unit you're giving away if you know you're going to make a huge amount of something. And you know, if you're making handsets or you're making devices for towers, maybe the first 5,000, maybe the first 10,000, but you don't go and start making 1 million of something and using Altera or Xilinx chips. Now, the other side of this is that they're using them in all of the servers that are in Microsoft's Azure system. Well, one of the reasons why that I'm kind of sniffing a little bit of that kind of smell that you find out in a farmer's field that has, you know, bovines, smelling a little bit, is that Microsoft bought that to actually put the these programmable logic chips in the processors for these servers. And to me, if you're going to use it, that's the way to actually do it. Those haven't really started shipping in mass. This story just smells a little bit because it's got to be probably fairly expensive and slower to put Xilinx chips on a board compared to actually putting them in the processor as Microsoft is doing. So 1, speed, 2, cost. It doesn't pass the smell test on the long term. When I start seeing articles that don't make sense in technology, I always wonder who's pushing the narrative on it. Oh, are we on? Oh, there's the sound. Okay, we'll be back in a minute.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get 'em, folks!
Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today. The Taz Profile Scanner Plus, developed by John Logan and his team, is a standalone piece of software that can change the way you trade. Let the Taz Profile Scanner work for you by scanning over 5,000 financial instruments such as stocks, ETFs, commodities, futures, and Forex. Right now, you can get a 30-day free trial to the Taz Profile Scanner Plus right at TFNN.com. And when you sign up, you gain instant access to John Logan's most recent webinar, How Price, Volume, and Time Make Market Profile So Unique. This hour-long webinar with John Logan will walk you through the most powerful features of the scanner and how you can use it to become a more successful and profitable trader. You pay absolutely nothing for 30 days while you try out this software risk-free. For more information on the Taz Profile Scanner and to get your 30-day free trial today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
And I put it in the den here, but traders always loved Altera before Intel bought them, and Xilinx, because these things were always either good getting better or bad getting worse. Because at the very beginning of new product cycles, a lot of these things are used, and it seems like these things can go to the moon, and then they replace the very expensive Xilinx or Altera chips with the cheap ones, and these things fall like a souffle, depending on whatever the new product of the day is. But you know, you could probably figure out that Xilinx and Altera would be a lot more used in the towers than probably in the phones themselves for any level of volume. But eventually, when everything is fixed, you figure out that it's much cheaper to build a purpose-built chip. We're going to look at some other ones. You can always give me a call at 877-927-6648. Okay. Okay. Oh, we're looking at that. See what else out here that I wanted to take a look at. On the winning side, we've got a few stocks that really blew out. YumC, which is Yum China. Again, kind of surprising. It had to come back to support, and that support is the gap up that goes back to, what does it say, April 6th of 2017, when it gapped up with a little under 15 million shares. The problem with this one is it did pierce that with 16 million shares on September 11th, bounced to 35.57, and came back into that same downtrend line just before earnings. But volume finally decreased 2.9 million shares, of course, in those. So you finally got the retest on the light volume. You got the earnings and a move up, but that move up is into a huge volume down day of 16 million shares. You're up today on 4 million shares. And again, these things can have some fairly quick pops, but now you're going to be in some fairly long resistance levels where everybody just wants to get their cash back. I don't see that Yum probably follows along and really what you want to look for. With upcoming issues and taxes in Europe, there is a company that has a nice little bounce today at about 9%. That bounce is off a low. This is one of the stocks that's come back into its trading range on lighter volume. A lot of the stocks that I've seen have a lighter volume, but they have not closed back in their trading range. Creato is kind of an ad selling platform for all of Europe. And with all the issues of chasing people around for copyright infringement and taxes that go into effect, which is another reason why I'm a little nervous on Facebook especially for Europe. They're going to have some fairly large taxes that start the first of the year. And that, of course, I don't know if they've talked much about that, if that's going to get negotiated out over time. But for the moment, it does look like Facebook, Google, and some of these other big social internet companies are going to see taxes and considerable taxes in all of the EU. We can only guess what happens with Brexit. But you got what? 3/4 of the people that live in Western Europe are in Western Europe, and the rest in England. I think that's about the right thing. But you got 120 million people in Germany. If I'm not mistaken, maybe 150. I'll have to go back and look at that. Anyway, that whole area is pretty much equal in population to the United States, but the earnings income's a little lower. But they will start going after those taxes. In fact, let's take a quick look at Google and see how they're doing. This has found some lows close to, but not piercing, the previous lows of February 9th and March 28th, both that came in right under $1,000 by 10, 16 bucks. You got to 1,007. You got into those candles. Volume was close enough to make me think that you get at least one more attempt down here at this $1,000 level on Google. And if you got that, then maybe you've got some kind of low in Google for a while. I would not, even though the energy coming off this high was a little less, it has not pierced those previous lows. Wouldn't be short this thing, but at the same time, even though it's had a nice $100 move off the bottom, it's now running into fairly stiff resistance. And probably my problem with the rest of the market, we need to find some of these stocks to come back into the trading range, as we said before, and of course have lighter volume on these lows. And unfortunately, that day that we really kind of whipsawed back around from the low 2600s had a lot of volume. I'm not expecting to see the indexes tested out there, but I think we need to see a lot more of these stocks go out and test those lows on lighter volume. So we could get one more, and I think fairly quickly, test under 2670, maybe 2650. And at that point, if we have lighter volume, I think we would be set up for the Christmas rally. And yes, I think you could have it all in one day. We could be back to 2680 on Thursday, see a light volume in Friday, do nothing on Monday, come back on Tuesday, maybe go either way. And then, of course, the election's over, and everybody's going to probably figure out what that means by Wednesday. There aren't a whole lot of things or mysteries for the rest of the year. We've gotten through most of the major earnings. And at that point, other than a few stocks, it does look like we could see the Christmas rally start without a lot of distractions, unless we continue to see the Fed come out and jawbone this market. You can give me a call at 877-927-6648. You can email me at path@tfnn.com. And of course, you can always put a message in the den. We've got enough time here. Okay. Dow's up 400, S&P's up 47, the Nasdaq's up 181, and the Russell's up 14. Of course, the Russell, anytime you get trade news, they always figure that, of course, the small caps will be the weakest if we do make a deal with China in the near future. Every time the deal looks like it's going to be shattered, well, they run the most. So there's got to be some stuff out here. Let's see what else we want to look at. I want to look at a handful of other stocks. Bungie Limited, which kind of a surprise out here, down almost 9% today. They are coming back and testing lows and doing it on more volume. 5 million shares already going into the 3 million share low of August 15th. So we will take a little bit more look at this when we come back. But some of these things in the industrial side not looking that great.
Jason Path has just launched his weekly newsletter, The Quantitative Edge, available only at TFNN.com. Right now, you can sign up for Jason's outstanding weekly report, including midweek updates whenever warranted, with a 30-day money-back guarantee included, so you have nothing to risk. Jason develops his trade recommendations by creating an ensemble of predictive and mathematical models trained on data by leveraging a variety of techniques, including market-based computer simulations. Jason then combines these sophisticated predictive and analytical models with deeply researched macro outlooks to identify opportunities in a number of different markets for traders to act on. Whether you're looking to trade futures, equities, commodities like crude oil and gold, forex, or cryptos, Jason covers it all. Sign up for Jason Path's weekly trading newsletter right now by visiting the front page of TFNN.com, and you'll find the Quantitative Edge under the Newsletters tab. TFNN.com, educating investors. David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
I'm certain you are or strive to be one of the best at everything you do in life. It's the most common trait that we tigers and tigresses share. If you're looking to become the best of the best when it comes to managing your money, let me teach you to do what most wealth managers tell you can't be done, which is how to time the markets. I'm Steve Rhodes, author of Mastering Probability, and for the last 12 months, Timer Digest has been tracking my newsletter signals, which have earned me the ranking as their #1 market timer in the nation for the S&P 500 for the last 12, 6, and 3 months. Timer Digest also ranks me as the #1 market timer for gold as well. The fact is, markets can be timed, and I'll teach you the exact set of tools that I use that has transformed me into one of the best at what I do. Sign up for Mastering Probability today by clicking on the newsletter tab on the homepage of TFNN.com and get immediate access to workshops where I take you step by step how to use an extraordinary set of tools, as well as provide great market calls too. Sign up today.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And we're back. Got a question to look at Sprint out here. And of course, this thing's got a fairly nice upslope to it. And of course, I wouldn't be buying it here today, but on the pullback, if you can draw a nice trend line up from this $4.81 low, I think that's kind of what you're looking at. But you know what? If it kind of came back to that, which is around $6, maybe $5.90 on any kind of pullback, there is kind of a nice uptrend on Sprint going up. Now, they're up 10% today. Another one up today on 10% is the Cereal Malt Beverage Company of Colorado, Molson Coors. Another nice pop. And again, a lot of these things were just absolutely blown out on lighter volume. This was not one of them. It had not closed back into the trading range, but a nice pop. Just a lot of these stocks, everybody gets very bearish on, and if they don't really, whiff on earnings, these things tend to get a fairly quick move back into the trading range. This one certainly did. but look for a lot of these gaps to get refilled. This one back at about 59, maybe $60 on light volume in the coming weeks, might have a nice run from 60 back up to 71 bucks. To T-Mobile, also another one. As long as we're talking about the telecommunications sector today, it's up 7.5%. This thing's just been in a big trading range, though, from about 79 to 70, back down to 54 bucks. Nice pullback. You went into a huge sign of strength that goes back to August 6th. That's when you came up on 15 million shares. You got into it last few days on about 6 million shares. So the bounce up here, probably not unexpected, but you're not breaking out any new highs in it either. So a lot of big trading ranges opening up in these stocks for the next couple of days. In the meantime, sell when you can, not when you have to, and we'll see you here tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.